Hi everyone, it's Michael Newton here with Michael Newton Real Estate at eXp Realty. And today I want to discuss what is the best strategy to take when it comes to investing into real estate into 2023. When we take a look at an investor, the primary goal of an investor is to generate income both in the short term and the long term from a property. When you look at generating an income from a property, you need two things. One, you need cash flow, and two, you need equity growth, right? So when you look at the cash flow, essentially that means that you need your monthly payments to be significantly lower than your rental income, right? So when we're taking a look at monthly expenses, the biggest factor there is going to be the mortgage payment, which is highly influenced by the interest rates. So the higher the interest rates, the higher the monthly payments are going to be. However, in this landscape, we are seeing that rental rates in Calgary have increased quite a bit. In some areas, they've gone up as much as 9%, in some areas 15%. And depending on the area, we're seeing a very healthy rental market for investors. So even though interest rates are up, we're still seeing that a property can be cash flow positive, right? And then the question comes up as, well, how is this property going to build equity? Now, generally speaking, in the long term, we see that real estate, goes up. If you take a look at the average price of a property in Calgary back in the 1980s, for example, and you compare that to now, the property values right now are significantly higher. So historically, you can see that property values, always go up over the very long term, right? But if you're talking about a 5-year period or a 10-year period, those periods could potentially be, show some instability. So it's not something where you're going to, pick a 5-year period and for sure that property values are going to go up over those 5 years. You never know. There's so many different economic factors that over a 5-year term or even sometimes over a 10-year term, the real estate market could be impacted, and equity inside of a property doesn't necessarily mean it's going to grow. So when you take a look at an investment property, it's always it's always good to look at the very long term. I'm talking 15 years, 20 years, in terms of holding the property for that long, right? So you have to keep in mind that it's a very long-term game in order to ensure that there's going to be some profitability out of an investment like that. A flip project is a little bit different. A flip project is something where you see a property that's in distress, for example, what I mean by distress is a property that is not in very good shape, a property that is pretty old, and it might still be livable, but it needs a good renovation to bring it up to date and to make it appealing to live in. You could also look at a tear down project where you tear down a property completely and then you build from scratch, right? Now there's an interesting article that came out by CBC that talks about some new rezoning regulations that are allowing home builders to do multi-unit complexes inside of old neighborhoods. Like, for example, if you take a look at Ross Carrick or Killarney, some of those areas that have begun to redevelop, there's some new rules that could be coming into place. In fact, they're already coming into place that will allow builders to build multi-unit complexes in these lots where traditionally they might have only allowed one or two properties, right? And so this is a very important point, because it becomes a more profitable project for builders and for investors that are working with these builders to to build a project that can be either sold to multiple parties or rented to multiple parties and generate a higher stream of income that way, right? So the article also states that right now there's approximately 20,000 a 20,000 unit shortage in the city of Calgary, and this goes hand in hand with the fact that we have low levels of inventory across the city, and so if we need 20,000 properties to keep up with the demand, then what that's telling us is that that there is still demand in the market, and that if there's demand, then it's a good time to sell, right? And typically, when you see this high level of demand, means that people are moving into the city. So it's also a good time to buy for investment and for rentals and everything else. Over the last 2 years, we've had a tremendous influx of people moving to Calgary. Calgary is a fabulous city. We've been, I think we were ranked number 3 in the world for livability, right? Let alone the fact that we're so close to the Rocky Mountains and so close to beautiful lakes, and we have a super modern downtown with the +15s and the rivers, and beautiful downtown neighborhoods like the downtown East Village and Eau Claire, and the Beltline, which is close to 17th Avenue and Stephen Avenue, that have lots of shopping and nightlife and restaurants and coffee shops and all those kinds of things, right? So lots of people are moving into the city. That has created an influx of population growth, which is contributing to a higher demand for real estate, both on the rental side and the resale market and the new construction market as well. So when we take a look at all those factors, we see that it is a good time to invest in real estate in the city of Calgary, whether you're looking for a flip project or a rental project, or to tear something down and build it up. It's a good time, and there's enough opportunities out there that with the right calculations, you can find a good property that can be profitable in the future.